Hello, my name is Anne, your guide to when animals get even. If you like bloodthirsty animals getting back at humanity, then it's officially a good idea for you to subscribe now. Now, today's animal has some thoughts about constantly being confused for a marten. It's fishers. We'll start in Massachusetts. Sullivan has been in and out of the hospital since a fisher attacked her in her own driveway. Now, in her own words, she had never seen an animal like this before, and that makes a lot of sense because, for the most part, they tend to be pretty elusive when it comes to humans. Sullivan stated that she felt a real burn on her foot, which makes sense because it was probably the sensation of searing pain. When she looked down, she saw what she thought was a cat. Maybe?
Felt a real burn on my foot. I looked down and I at first just thought it was a regular cat, but it was way bigger and missing fur.
The fisher sank its teeth into her and would not let go. The pain was so severe that at one point she legitimately thought she was going to die. That seems to be happening a lot.
Did not want to let go. Thought I was dying at one point. I started slamming my car door on its head to try to get it to release.
So she began slamming her car door against its head in a bid to get it to let go. It wasn't stated if that's actually what worked, but it did, in the end, let go. Now she's been through numerous scans, a multitude of hospital visits, and several rounds of antibiotics, not to mention starting on rabies shots. Her primary care doctor actually had some pretty serious concerns that she might lose the foot entirely, just because of how much damage had been done to it. Now, pain-wise, Sullivan is still obviously in a lot of it, but the infection in her foot did clear, so that's actually quite a relief. I don't know if you've ever gone through it, but usually if something's infected, like, you can kind of almost like feel it. It's a really sickening sensation. It's really unpleasant, and there's a part of you that's just like, get it out, get it out. She's been through physical therapy, but her recovery is estimated to take several more months, if not a year. Sullivan actually vividly described it.
Everything just inside of my foot really just feels, I can't even describe, like nothing's attached, like rubber bands almost separated.
And of course, this has left her with some psychological trauma because she's constantly picturing the fisher in question, probably getting startled by loud sounds, probably is gonna have some discomfort around cats and dogs, potentially. I mean, this kind of thing can have a lasting impact. Her new strategy is to always be extremely loud when she goes outside. She's going to be clapping her hands, or whatever she feels is going to be nice and loud. So the good news is that her community around her has been giving her just an outpouring of support, and that has a big impact. And when people help people, it can mean a lot to you, especially if you maybe weren't particularly close to them. Humans drawing together in times of distress, it's a really powerful thing. So she's hoping that her story and what happened to her will help others avoid similar incidents in the future. So let's talk about mesopredators. You remember the food chain or food web, right? Like how it was, whichever way it was taught to you. There's always an apex predator, a number one at the top of the food chain with no predators above it. Nothing that can take it out. In the middle of this food chain, there are other predators. They're actually called mesopredators, and they're things like foxes, raccoons, and fishers. Now, the fisher is a member of the weasel family, mustelids again, and resembles a mixture of the classic weasel and a fox. They've got really sharp predatory teeth and ninja-like climbing skills. So they're arboreal predators, which means they get up in the trees and they attack from above, which is, you usually think, all I gotta worry about is birds coming from above. No, fishers too. And jaguars. Probably several other things. So like most of the weasel family, they are excellent at grabbing either prey a little bit smaller than them, prey the same size, and they're all capable of taking out prey twice their size or even larger. So, they're bold, you know? If they know they can take out something twice their size, if not bigger than them, they're probably going to go after a lot of things you didn't expect, including you. Anyway, did you know what a fisher was already? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have a 6-year-old boy who was attacked by a fisher while waiting with his mom and some other kids at the bus stop.
The boy was waiting for the school bus with his mother yesterday morning when the fisher cat struck.
Essentially, his leg was all bloodied. The mom, Nicole Sherman, was hysterical, not knowing what happened. You know, you're fearing a rabid animal.
And there weren't really any stats on the kid, so like I can't say if he was like really small for his age or anything like that. But considering we just talked about how they go after prey like twice their size, the fisher is 20 to 25 pounds. I went after him. So I'm just wondering, like, was he kind of small for his age or short? I don't know. But the fisher was like, yum. It actually wasn't until the group started walking away that the fisher itself attacked. The mother did end up kicking the animal off of her son, as a mother tends to do. And the other kids that were there kind of pitched in. You know, one kid threw its backpack at the animal. But in the end, it was a neighbor who heard all the commotion who eventually scared the fisher off. There's not really any info on how they scared it off. Probably brandished something more serious than a backpack, I guess. I don't know. There's not information on it. The next animal attack is in Canada. Alan's minding his own business, mowing the lawn, mowing the neighbor's lawn. So that's even like, that's just a plus up. Like, this is a good guy. He's just, you know, lottie-dolling along, having a good time. I've heard that lawn mowing can be almost meditative for some men. So he's just doing that. And a fisher blindsides him from up above. Arboreal predator. So he was on a riding lawnmower, and this fisher just about knocked him off of it, which is its own kind of like sort of scary. You know, maybe not. I don't know how riding lawnmowers work. Are they like jet skis? Like if you get thrown off, does the thing stop or does it keep going? I don't know. Alan stated that being hit by that much force, an animal catapulting out of a tree onto you, is sort of like being hit by a German Shepherd. Alan was able to shake himself free, and he's 99% certain that it's a fisher, but he did allow that it could be some other kind of animal or some kind of hybrid. Now, according to Alan, he pounded on the animal until it let go, and he saw, you know, a snout and a foaming mouth. Rabies? I don't know. Typical to a fisher, it dropped onto Alan from the trees, and he estimated it took anywhere between 35 seconds and a minute for him to successfully get it off of him. His back was absolutely covered in scratches, not to mention 3 puncture wounds from bites. So after the attack and all, he has to go through rabies vaccines, right? And what is interesting to note is that he believes that the rabies vaccine actually interfered with his diabetic condition because his sugar went absolutely crazy afterward. Now, the vaccine is known to be harsh on people with immunocompromised systems and pregnant women, and obviously anyone allergic to any of the components, but I couldn't find anything that kind of indicated it might have that same effect on people with diabetes. However, it is important to note that it would probably be fairly difficult to get consistent data on that and really form a consensus, just because you can't really like let rabid animals bite people and then give them a vaccine and record how they react. That's unethical. We don't do that. And in other countries where there's rabies, they may not keep that kind of data. That kind of thing. So the good news is that he has primarily recovered and he will be back to mowing lawns in no time at all. Today's lesson: look up. Look up! Fishers are, again, arboreal predators that primarily strike from above. Look up. And also, I'm really glad that I live in Texas, so I never have to deal with fishers because, you know, they're in the northernmost US states and Canada, so yay for me. Okay, if you enjoyed this video and you want more bloodthirsty animal content, including part 2 of this video, then subscribe right now. I am here Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Bye! They're bold, you know? If they know they can take out something twice their size, if not bigger than them, they're probably going to go after a lot of things you didn't expect, including you.